Assalamu alaikum. This is Khadija Abdul Majid from the University of Punjab. And the topic of research that I will be speaking on today is titled Screening of 4 Indigenous Plants for the Synergistic Antibacterial Activity and Anti-Cancerous Effect. The phenomenon of antibiotic resistance is almost as old as antibiotics themselves. The first antibiotic discovered was penicillin, and emergence of strains that were resistant to penicillin came soon after. Currently, the antibiotic resistance, when combined with the shortage of effective antibiotics, makes it necessary to look for new sources of drugs that are not only more effective but also safer. One of the leading causes of mortality worldwide is cancer. In 2020 alone, it claimed an estimated 10 million lives. Liver cancer is the sixth most common cancer type worldwide, and hepatocellular carcinoma makes up a huge proportion of the primary liver cancer cases. Amongst Pakistani women, cervical cancer is the third leading cause of cancer. So the treatments that are generally offered for these cancer types includes radio and chemotherapy. However, they have a lot of adverse effects, such as the killing of normal cells in addition to cancer cells, the development of resistance in cancer cells to these drugs, etc. So this creates a demand to explore alternate sources of drugs that are not only more effective but also safer. One such alternate source are the plant secondary metabolites because they have been reported to have a wide array of biological activities. Now, the B cell lymphoma 2 protein has been reported to have an anti-apoptotic role in the cell. Its overexpression has been observed in various cancer types. And when BCL2 is upregulated, it has been linked to tumor progression, development of drug resistance, as well as cancer progression. Thus, it could serve as a potential therapeutic target for treatment of cancer. In order to carry out this study, first plants were collected from different areas of Lahore. They were washed, dried, and their methanolic extracts were prepared. These methanolic extracts were then checked for the antibacterial activity using well diffusion assay. For this purpose, three isolates were taken. Two were of methicillin resistant Staphylococcus aureus, and one was of extensively drug resistant Salmonella typhi. So the isolates that were selected were those that were resistant to the more common antibiotics. Next, these extracts were checked for the anti-cancerous effect using MTD assay. For that, they were tested against two cell lines, HepG2 and HeLa. One of the more active extracts, the Keressa species, its phytochemicals had previously been reported in a separate study. So those phytochemicals were docked against the BCL2 protein. The resulting or the candidate compounds that were obtained were further analyzed for the drug-like properties as well as their ADMET profile. The plants that was selected for study include the Bocania species, a Chamaedorea species, a Keressa species, and a Calliandra species. This slide shows basically the antibacterial effect of the extracts individually as well as when combined with Keressa. So individually, as you can see, Bocania and Chamaedorea were inactive against all of the tested isolates. Keressa and Calliandra, on the other hand, they had activity. Next, each of the three extracts was combined with Keressa, and the combined effect was checked against each isolate. Although each combination was active against the tested isolates, however, an antagonistic effect was observed. What exactly is an antagonistic effect? Antagonistic effect is when your diameter or a zone of inhibition for the combined extract is less than the zones of inhibition, the diameters for when the individual extracts are added. Next, the plant extracts were checked for the cytotoxic effect against HepG2 cell lines. Out of the four plants, cytotoxicity or a decrease in cell viability was observed for two of the extracts. In case of Keressa, the decrease in cell viability was maximum in case of the highest dose concentration, that is 200 micrograms per ml. As for Calliandra, it was maximum at the lowest dose concentration. Next, the cytotoxic effect was checked against HeLa cells. In this case, three of the plants were effective. They showed a dose-dependent cytotoxicity, that is, with an increase in dose concentration a decrease in viability was observed. This decrease in viability was more pronounced in case of Carissa and Kaliandra species. After that, Carissa species, or the phytochemicals that were previously reported for Carissa species, they were docked with BCL2 protein, your target protein, which we talked about earlier. In this table, basically, out of the 26 phytochemicals that were docked, these 5 had a better interaction, as was determined by primarily by the docking score. The docking score basically is an indicator of the binding energy that is released when the phytochemical binds with the target. Phytochemical or compound binds with the target protein. Lower or more negative the value is, better would be the interaction with the target protein. So in this case, the highest that we have is -13, followed by -11, 6, and so on. Next, each of the tested compounds were checked for the drug likeness properties. For this, the Lipinski's rule of 5 was used, which basically checks 4 different characteristics, and it has set threshold values for them. If the compound exceeds those values, it basically violates that particular rule, and if there are a lot of violations, that particular compound will not be an ideal candidate to be developed into a drug. So first is the molecular weight, then you have the number of hydrogen bond acceptors, hydrogen bond donors, and the coefficient of partition. So out of the 5 compounds that docked well, 2 had violations, the Lipinski's rule. One had 2, that is beta-D-glucopyranose. The other had 3 violations. After that, the ADMET profile was assessed for each of the 5 compounds. And ADMET basically stands for absorption, distribution, metabolism, excretion, and toxicity. In the absorption part, basically checks for absorption the blood-brain barrier, which should be negative for an ideal drug. Gastrointestinal absorption should be high, and P-glycoprotein substrate should be positive. Next, in metabolism, it basically checks if it inhibits different enzymes that are involved in metabolism. So overall, if we compare these parameters for these 5 compounds, we can see that the beta-D-glucopyranose has the more appropriate or better uh, results as compared to the other compounds, and as compared to these compounds, it had the second highest docking score. So out of the 5, this seems as the more suitable candidate for drug development. So in conclusion, out of the 4 plants, 2 plants showed antibacterial activity individually. So these antibacterial extracts of plants, they can be used as biopreservatives, meaning that they can be used to increase the shelf life of food, where they would prevent the growth of microorganisms in processed food items. They can also be used to develop antibacterial creams, soaps, and medicines. As for the anti-cancer effect, 2 out of 4 plants, they showed significant decrease in cell viability for HEPG2 cells. As for HeLa cells, 3 plants showed a cytotoxic effect. Furthermore, from the docking study, we found that one compound, the beta-D-glucopyranose, was a relatively suitable candidate for drug development. Hence, all these potentially cytotoxic compounds, they could be used to develop anti-cancer drugs that are safe, efficient, and economical for treatment of hepatocellular carcinoma and cervical cancer following further research. Thank you.